Hello everyone. Now before the video starts, I just want to quickly let you know that I have a message board going. The link will be in the description. It's called Our Safe Space and it's intended to be a literal safe space where we can all just hang out and have conversations without judgment or negativity or anything like that. There's no rules at the moment, and I don't really want there to be because I'd rather not. I'd rather just everyone just be nice. But if people do there and they are horrible to other people, I will ban them. Don't want to, but I will. And when I say a safe space, I mean that for everyone. Okay, everybody. Okay, I want it to be a safe space for everybody. Okay, where we can get together and discuss our problems without Zuckerberg or Musk looking at it and, you know, using it against us in the future, which they might do. Now, this other company I'm using, Pro Boards, they're probably, I don't know how ethical or unethical they are, I don't really know, but I like to hope I'm pretty sure they're okay. I don't really want to find out they're investing arms deals or anything like that, because that'd be a shame. And I'm no good at web design, so I wouldn't be able to start it all up by scratch, but still. Anyway, just to let you know, before the video starts, there is a message board. I'd love to see you there. And now, on with the video. Hello and good evening, everybody. Hope you're ready for some more, where is it? Reading. As you can tell, I've got my book. And with me are my therapy buddies. So, shall we begin? The fear of looking foolish. A good friend of mine used to tell me that she wanted to be famous. She wanted to be in films, Star Wars in particular. I didn't think that was a bad shout. She was dangerously capable with a toy lightsaber, so I was pretty sure that if the part of Princess Leia's sister ever came up, she'd get it. But she knew that breaking into a major Hollywood movie from our bungalow in Reading wasn't going to be easy. So she decided to start the process for a part in the school Christmas nativity play. I admired her. I was too nervous even to go to the audition, so I didn't. I ended up in the audience instead. I was quite jealous when her name appeared in the programme on the big opening night. Emma Smith, second camel. It was all set to be a great night. Her dad had borrowed the costume from a friend at work. 2 humps, since you ask, and her parents, my parents, and I sat together in the front row. Emma was playing second camel. She had 5 lines. 2 of them had to be sung. There are 4 camels in total. Camel 1 was the main camel. She had 8 lines. Camel 3 and Camel 4 didn't have any lines. Wasn't really sure what the point of them was, to be honest. Halfway through the show, the moment arrived. The music built. Camel 1 sang her lines at perfect pitch, and then it was Emma's turn. But she looked at me just as she was about to open her mouth, and I could tell that something was seriously wrong. I could see the terror in her eyes, and I just knew she couldn't remember the words. Like a maniac, I started furiously mouthing them back at her. I was word perfect because we had been practicing in between breaks at Omega for the last 3 months. But the lights were dazzling her eyes and she couldn't see my frantic offer of help, so she froze, standing completely still in front of 200 people, 3 other camels, Joseph and Mary, the whole works. The music teacher played the tune again to give her another chance, but Emma had lost her nerve. She was overcome with fear. Camel 1 came to her rescue and belted out the lines, and then the song moved on. Most of the audience hardly noticed, but Emma was so upset. Her dream of Hollywood stardom was looking a lot less likely now. And at the end of the scene, she raced off stage so fast she crashed into the lighting tower and crushed her second hump. Her dad was not popular at work when he had to give the costume back. All in all, it wasn't a great night for her. Emma really took it to heart. She felt like a fool, a failure. It was a whole month before she could even bring herself to look Camel 1 in the eye. Carol Ford couldn't stop himself from telling her that he would have done a much better job. In fact, that was almost Emma's last foray into show business. She found it really hard to think about ever getting up on stage again, let alone dressing up. But she was determined that wouldn't be the end of it. The following year, the school production was Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, so Emma put her fears to one side and went to the audition. She wanted the big part, the one with the fancy coat, but annoyingly, Carol Ford got that. She got back out there though and faced her fears, and this time she nailed it. I suspect that on some level everyone can relate to this story. Putting yourself out there, taking a risk, is scary business. Have you ever decided not to put your hand up in case your question is a stupid one? I can honestly say now, yes. I worry about that all the time. I don't want to look like an idiot. Or perhaps you've always been told that you're a super talented runner. But one sports day you're on the start line for the 100 metres and the opposition seems a little tough. Like they've been training with Usain Bolt. You'd rather not break your winning streak, so you decide to stage a tummy ache. This has to be better than the humiliation of coming last, surely. Much better to blend in with everyone else than to risk people laughing. It is entirely natural to want to fit in. So the moral of this is, never borrow a camel costume and be brave. You don't get good at stuff if you are so worried about looking foolish that you don't go to the audition, or you never ask a question. You don't improve if you pull out of the race when you see the competition, or you'll never learn anything new that way. Everyone is way better than me. Everyone loves a success story. When people in talent shows on television, we rate them for the skill they have shown on stage. Whether they're singing, dancing, or making things vanish into thin air, we see a faultless performance, and refuse to believe that we could ever do the same thing. But why is this? What is it about everyone from top sportsmen and women to pop stars that makes us think we couldn't hope to be anything like them? The answer is very simple. The fact is, when we see them perform, we're only looking at the end result of a huge amount of hard work. We are watching them with success. We're watching them with success goggles on. Whether it's learning the violin, swimming, schoolwork, or BMXing, we don't see how much time and dedication they have put into becoming really good at it. Nor do we see all the mistakes they have made along the way. Instead, we focus on the finished product. Assume it must be down to some natural born talent or gift and write off our chances of following in their footsteps without even trying. What's more, when people achieve something big, they tend to bask in the glory of the moment. Often they are reluctant to admit just how much work they have put into getting there. It can take away from the fairy tale ending. After all, but sadly it masks the reality. The amazing feats of awesomeness take masses of practice to perfect. But hard work is for other people. When it comes to being lazy, young people can get a tough time. You can't lie in for more than half an hour without someone making jokes about whether you're going to get up in time for dinner. But at the same time, it's fair to say that the most attractive path for some is often the one that requires the least amount of effort. There is another danger out there though, a proper great white shark in the water. What happens when everyone around you is telling you you're a genius at maths, or you've got reaction speeds at the outer limits of human possibility? Someone actually wrote this about me once. That's the author talking, not me personally, James. I had it above my bed for about 6 years. I'm going to be honest with you, if someone said that about me, I'd remember that too. I really would. Can you see the problem? You start believing the hype. You begin drafting your Oscar acceptance speech. You're planning your post-exam celebrations, all before you've actually made the grade or arrived on the winner's podium. When people think they're already super talented, they can sometimes get a bit lazy. Hard work is for people without my genius, they might think. So they take their foot off the gas, stop trying as hard, and end up being overtaken by those who didn't opt for the sofa after their first taste of success. There is a quote here by Thomas Edison, but considering what he did to animals, I'm not going to repeat it. Look up Topsy if you really want to know. Back to the book. It's tempting to see successful people through your own success goggles, but let's smash them into oblivion by looking at a famous failure. This famous failure example is Steve Jobs, who you probably know as, the guy that done Apple. Computers, that is, not the fruit. He was a tech visionary, he was the founder of Apple, and he was really a failure. Yep, really, Steve Jobs has gone down in history as the man who gifted the world the iPhone, the iPad, and the iMac computer. Now, I will admit I'm not a big product fan, but even I cannot, downplay the success of Apple products, even if I don't use them myself. If it's on your Christmas list and it has an apple on it, chances are it's down to the genius of Mr. Jobs. Excuse me. He doesn't sound like much of a flop. Well, even though Steve Jobs founded Apple after 9 years building up the company, he was forced to leave after a disagreement with the people he had brought in to help run it. Ouch. Imagine having to say goodbye to 9 whole years of hard work, not to mention seeing other people take over your company. It would have been only too easy for Steve to quit the tech world altogether, but he didn't. Instead, he focused all his energy on other projects, including Pixar, the animation company that went on to produce Monsters Inc., Cars, and Finding Nemo. I'm sure you've heard of some of those. So far, so awesome, but there was more. He also founded a new tech company called Next, which after 10 years was bought by Apple, and 12 years after he had left, Steve Jobs became the boss of Apple once more. And there's a quote by Steve Jobs which I'll read here. I'm convinced that about half of what separates successful entrepreneurs from the not successful ones is pure perseverance. That is probably true. However, it's also worth noting at this point, I should point out, that perseverance is great, but you also need the opportunity to do it. I very much doubt Steve Jobs was working a full-time minimum wage job and dedicating his spare time to the other stuff. He probably had the resources behind him to allow himself to dedicate himself to it full-time. I don't actually know, but I'm pretty certain that's how it went. I mean, I know Bill Gates, the guy who done Microsoft, he had CEO parents. So all that stuff about him doing it in his garage is nice, but also worth knowing that he had the resources to back himself up, and he didn't have to work a 9 to 5 just to fund it. Or just to live, I should say. But I will say this now. The lesson to be learned here is that if you want to be good at something, you have got to persevere at it, which is sadly true in life. I mean, it's like me with the German. See, it's alright me going on my phone for 10 minutes a day and doing lessons on Duolingo, but that's not going to be enough. If I want to actually speak the language proper and hold conversations with people, I need to put in a lot more time and a lot more effort. You can't just get by with the bare minimum. Otherwise, all that time spent will be wasted and for nothing. And I only end up feeling like an idiot, which I do most of the time anyway. Confidence crises. Crises being the plural of crisis. I used to be pretty low in the confidence department. I'll be honest with you, Matthew, I still am. Sometimes Mum and Dad would have their friends round to our house, and before the boring adult chat started, my dad would make a point of getting my brother and me to introduce ourselves. All he wanted was a "Hi, I'm Matthew" from me. Pretty simple, he thought, and you can't really blame him, but I used to crake at the thought of it. The whole idea of having to speak in front of other people to someone I hardly knew. It made me want to hide under the nearest duvet for a week. My confidence was at rock bottom. But something changed. And now these days people ask me to give speeches, maybe to a whole school or a business. I suspect they ask me because I am much cheaper and easier to get hold of than Neymar. Well, so they tell me, but they also want to hear my ideas about how to get good at stuff. After I give my speeches, sometimes to hundreds of people, it is often the case that someone in the audience comes up and tells me that I'm brilliant at public speaking, and almost always that they are hopeless at it. They talk as if I was actually born on stage, my first words being ladies and gentlemen, rather than the usual babbles of ordinary babies. They had seen me at 14 years old. 14 years old me was able to say, "Hi, I'm Matthew," to my parents' friends Mandy and Tim, who had popped in for a sherry at Christmas. So what changed? I'm going to tell you a secret. I practiced for years in how to speak confidently in public. I went to a debate club called Toastmasters. They don't teach you how to make really tasty bread-based snacks. Although that would also be a winner. No. They are the Omega Club for public speaking rather than table tennis. And at this debate club you have to get up and speak about topics you might not be familiar with, in front of actual people you have never met before. It's pretty scary the first time you go, but the more you do it, the more they help you, and the more you watch other people in the same situation who are just as terrified as you. It does become easier. Wish I could say the same for holding a stick tonight. This is getting really hard. But I shall persevere. Once I delivered some rubbish speeches at the debate club. Sorry, I keep doing this tonight. That's better. Once I delivered some rubbish speeches at the debate club, I knew how to handle it. Knew how to make the next speech just that bit better. I wasn't frightened of a room full of people I didn't know. I wasn't worried they would laugh, and I knew what to do if they did. Practice built my confidence. I wasn't born with it. Who even am I? In some ways, life would be so much easier. Life would be so much easier if we all shared the same outlook as our friends. If we all had the same fears and ambitions. Then there would be no chance of having a go at something different and failing. But how dull would that be? The fact is that every single one of us is unique. We look different, apart from the time I thought it was a great idea to buy the same Shrek green, yes green cardigan from Marks and Spencer's that my best friend had. We think and behave like nobody else, and we all have the potential for awesomeness. But doing our own thing and dealing with the attention that it brings takes confidence, which ultimately has to come from feeling happy in our own skin. Now, admittedly, this is something I'm still learning. And another thought I had while I was reading this chapter is that by reading these books to the camera, I am practicing my public speaking in a way, because although technically I can't see the audience, I know you are there because I see the viewing numbers. I mean, okay, sometimes I will get about 2 views per video, but it's still an audience. If I get 2 views, then that's an audience of 2, which is double the amount of people. So I'm talking to double the amount of people that is me. And I've just realised that last bit makes absolute 0 sense. But the point still stands. If 2 people watch the video, then I've given a talk to an audience of 2. When I'd done that Dorking video, which last I checked had 90 views, that meant I gave 90 people a tour of Dorking. See what I'm getting at? This is one of the reasons I suggest some people out there, start your own channel. Just to talk about things. Because it's all good practice. Such as this is good practice for me. You know I'm making sense here. But seriously, just do it. If you want to do it, just do it. Practice, like I am now. This is all practice for me. Because today I'm reading a book, but by the end of it, I'll be doing TED Talks. I'll also do corporate functions for the right price too. When we consider everything that can hold us back, it's a miracle that we get out of bed in the mornings. Then again, every second of each day, someone in the world pushes themselves out of their comfort zone to achieve great things. Somehow they have looked inside their brains and found a way to tackle all the doubts, insecurities and temptations that might have otherwise stopped them from pursuing their ambitions. If they can, then you can too. So how do we make sure the things that hold us back don't? Your mission is to think about mindset. Our mindset can be described as the way we look at the world and our place in it. It turns out that this mindset, if you don't get it right, can seriously hold us back. Carol Dweck, that's Dweck as in D-W-E-C-K, it'll be on the screen, is a psychologist who has done oodles of research into the mindsets of young people. Her work is amazing. She's a professor who studies everything about mindset, and she has shown that it really can either hold you back or help you get good at stuff. She has tested it. She has experimented on actual people. But don't worry, no one was harmed in this process. To look at what holds us back or sets us free to pursue our ambitions. It is science, and there is lots of research and evidence to back it up. And guess what Professor Dweck has found? I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If you are listening, Professor, I doubt you are, but if you are and I am pronouncing your name wrong, please let me know. Would be appreciated, but because I'd rather get it right, but you're probably not, so don't worry about it. There are two types of mindset. One is pretty fantastic in helping us become good at stuff. The other, not so much. Okay, let's start with the problem one. The fixed mindset. This is where people think that you can only be good at something if you are born gifted or talented. Then you pop into the world already hardwired to be good at maths, brilliant at tennis, able to sing like an opera diva, or nailed a dragon flip on a skateboard on the first go. In a fixed mindset, you believe you have either got a talent for something, or more disappointingly, that you haven't. And there is not very much you can do to change that, no matter how hard you might try. But can you see the problem? If you believe that people are either born great at things or they're not, then where does that leave practice or trying hard to improve? Right at the bottom of a totally pointless list of totally pointless things, you just wouldn't bother. It wouldn't be worth the effort. You'd be better off spending your time digging a hole to Australia in your back garden, which I did with my brother once. We got quite far, about 2 meters. We even convinced the local vicar to help us. Not quite sure how, he really must have had better things to do. Anyway, any way you look at it though, it was a pretty pointless exercise. Now here's a fun fact for you. If you dig from anywhere in the UK, you'll not end up in Australia. There's this website which actually shows you where, if you dug straight down from that place, then it shows you exactly where you'd end up. I forget where you end up if you dig around there. I think we end up somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, which wouldn't be good. But I'm not 100% sure. I'll put a link to it I'll put a link to the website in the description if I remember. Seriously, look at it, it's good fun. You can put any point in the world in, it shows you exactly where you'd end up if you dug straight down. Back to the book now. Remember Kid Average? He was in a fixed mindset. He didn't see the point of trying to improve his table tennis skills and just walked away. Kid Awesome stuck at it. He wasn't born with a table tennis bat in his hand, he just believed that he could improve. Just thinking that meant it was worth a shot. He wasn't in a fixed mindset, and over time he changed his ability from average to awesome with practice. The table in the garage and that competitive brother available 24/7. Now this is a problem because Professor Carol Dweck thinks that more than 40% of us might be in a fixed mindset. And I'll be honest with you, I'm in a fixed mindset. The amount of times I've actually said there's no point in me doing it because I'm no good at it, and if I was I'd be good by now, is quite amazing and quite depressing. Really is. I've been in the fixed mindset my entire life. I mean, it's like when I say I'm unlovable and I won't meet anyone. That is the fixed mindset because I've already failed myself without even trying. You know? It's a fixed mindset. Of course, you can't just be positive and get good at stuff. You've got to put in the time, the effort, and it's one part of the battle in my opinion. That's a lot of people. In fact, that means there could be as many as 2.9 billion people in the world with a fixed mindset. That's more than the population of Europe and North America combined. Perhaps now you can see the issue. This is massive. Here are the top 10 fixed mindset thoughts. Fixed mindset thoughts. See, I'm practicing my speaking, but I still don't get it right sometimes. It's normal to doubt your abilities sometimes, but your thoughts can become a pattern that can hold you back. Do any of these phrases sound familiar? All hopeless at maths in our family. I'm not really very good at anything. My memory's rubbish. My French vocab just won't go in. I often start things, but never finish them. I'd rather die than stand up and speak in front of people. I don't have the coordination for tennis. Everyone is way better than me at science. I just don't get it. Drawing? You're kidding, I can't even draw a stick man. My sister's the clever one in our family. Hard work is for other people. I'm a natural. Now, none of those are me. Well, I guess really 8. You know, I'm no good at things. There's no point. Other people are better. That's it. It's not for me. I will hazard a guess that you have heard lots of these before. You might have even said some of them yourself. Fixed mindsets are everywhere and they hold people back every single day. So why not try to ditch them from your language right now? I'll be honest with you, Matthew, that's easier said than done. How fixed mindsets happen? As we found out earlier, fixed mindsets are super common. But did you realize that people can fall into them when they are really quite young? A friend of mine told me a story the other day about why she had always thought she wasn't very clever. When she was at primary school, there were 2 groups for reading, the Rockets and the Turtles. She was a turtle. Can you see the association? I can. I see it already. Rockets zoom and turtles plod along slowly. You get the picture. The turtle group was not seen as talented at reading, and as a consequence the turtles didn't really try. My friend has thought of herself as a turtle rather than a rocket for almost 40 years. 41 for me. Which is actually pretty young in turtle years, but that is not the point I'm making. It's possible that small things people say or do can drive us into a fixed mindset. And we can end up being turtles rather than rockets, forever if we are not careful, not practicing, not improving. That's me, the turtle. But people who do try and who do get good at stuff are in what's called a growth mindset. Top footballers, Oscar-winning actors, the best in class at maths. Anyone who is any good at anything is probably in a growth mindset. A growth mindset is one of the biggest secrets to success. And that's it for tonight. On the next video I read, we'll be talking about the growth mindset. Now, who here watching is in a fixed mindset like me? How many people have all automatically dismissed something because you're no good at things? I know it's not just me. I'm sure some of you watching or listening have had this thought process too. So if you have, let me know in the comments who you are. And tell me if you want... Actually, no, don't tell me if you want a growth mindset. I think everyone wants a growth mindset, don't they? I think achieving the growth mindset is going to be a lot harder. It's a lot easier said than it is actually done, if that makes sense, people. But I believe that every single one of us can achieve it. Just got to do it, you know? We've just got to try and do something. Okay? Like me with the German, I've got to keep at it. The more I practice, the better I get. And it means, to get good at it, I know I need to do more than 10 minutes on my phone at night. It's like, actually, the jogging is a perfect example of this, getting fit. I get jog further now than what I do, than why I started. So, I am getting better. I'm in the growth mindset for jogging already. And hopefully when the weather gets warmer, I'll be able to jog further without buggering up my muscles in the back of my legs. And that's a thing for another video. So anyway, I'm going to finish this now because we're coming up to 30 minutes on my camera timer. And then how long you'll know how many scenes I actually deleted. Anyway, until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye.